Yesterday's excitement around Nvidia, though, was a little bit of a disappointment. Jenny Horne joins me, host of Next Gen. What's up, Jenny?
So it was a little bit of a disappointment, but I think that reading now, because I obviously went home and read way more about the keynote, because I was just curious what drove shares to, close the session yesterday down 3.5%. We only saw selling moderate and steepen. I wouldn't necessarily say it's sold off when we did start that keynote. That's not entirely true, but still to close down 3.5%. There's things to like still, and I think you hear things like cost efficiencies. Like efficiency in general mentioned just, hundreds of times by Jensen and all of the analysts. You have Morgan Stanley saying this was a very strong roadmap. Also BofA saying that Nvidia is continuing to steepen now its competitive moat. JP Morgan said this company does remain one or two steps now ahead of their competitors. So the street had nothing but positive takeaways, which I actually think is a pretty strong read. We got Blackwell being in full production. Also, Vera Rubin is coming, which, again, I know we knew, but I think confirmation of that is at least something. Did also see some reasoning models for agentic AI, as well as the first AI model for humanoid robots. I know that was an area that you were excited about, was the robots.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to, Tesla's big on that.
I know, they were sort of slipped under the rug as far as that headline. And then 6G, which I was complaining about because 5G, our infrastructure is already lacking. But I think that right now, when you see that Jensen Huang is saying Hopper, first of all, is going to be basically useless once Blackwell's available, shows either that he is crazy or that he sees demand so strong for Blackwell that he's not even worried about throwing Hopper under the bus, which I think also speaks to Blackwell's importance right now in terms of AI. I also think that when you consider the fact that product announcements, yes, were as expected, but from Hopper to now Blackwell to Rubin, NVIDIA has consistently achieved this 4 times AI compute increase per generation. So now we're seeing the next generation delivering more bang for your buck. All this, as far as the tech side of me, is super interesting. But yeah, you could make the argument all day long. It still made shares close down 3.5% on the session.
Yeah, okay. So it was no bid to the stock yesterday.
No.
Some of the stuff is obviously very cool, very exciting. Just not sure if it's new.
It's just not anything that made you say, hey, the stock that's already gotten criticized for its valuation, let's keep running things up right now. Although, historically, it's actually looking much cheaper. But it wasn't enough to make those super, I'd say, maybe cautious or more pessimistic tech AI and people that are out there, I'm sure, say, hey, I'm changing my mind now on the AI narrative.
Yeah. Okay, so if you think that, it's been priced in, all of these big developments, yesterday didn't really help because they didn't give too much new or shocking, just updates. New in terms of numbers, in terms of their tests on how fast everything goes, and it's all very impressive. It is, but is it going to move the stock after our big run and what we've priced in? At this point, it doesn't look like it. So
it doesn't, and even for a name like GM, I tried to find some of these partnerships that were announced, and if there was any movement there. GM had already been shuttering its cruise business. To me, this says you're also pretty reactionary in an autonomous market that you're late to. So I think it highlighted more of that. It felt to me like an earnings event, honestly, where we talk about Nvidia so heavily into their earnings, and then in the last several earnings, we've seen pretty muted reactions, which happens, I guess, when there's this much volatility and volume in your name. So I feel like it felt like that, where it was like, okay, we were so excited about this catalyst, it kind of disappointed, and we just sort of trickled lower all throughout the session.
Okay. In terms of strength for the semiconductors, Intel's been stronger, Micron's been firm, Supermicro too.
Supermicro, see, and this is where I'd say there's these now second tier winners of GTC still. Supermicro announcing its new systems rack and rack solutions that are powered by the Blackwell Ultra platform. So this will feature several of NVIDIA's chips, and they did say that these new AI solutions are these compute intensive but breakthrough performances, and this is continuing to build out their AI reasoning and agentic AI, as well as these video inference applications. So gets more in the weeds, but yes, you could find, I think, still some of these product announcements that could at least try to pump some life back into some of these names that still look pretty terrible on a 12-month basis, frankly.
True. Okay.
This one especially. The fall from grace that was Supermicro.
Yeah, for sure. But market trying to dabble in some of the non-NVIDIA semiconductor stories lately, so Intel's been the winner.
Micron's been the winner as well.
Micron, yeah. We'll see if Supermicro resumes its role as a favorite in this trade as opposed to a dog. So we'll see. All right. Thanks, Jenny. Appreciate it. Good look here at some of the stocks on the move here and the tech stuff from yesterday.